Bat community call for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. Hope you all are doing well. Many thanks to Belladone for showing up and recording the sessions now. Much appreciated. At least that's what Jennie tells me. Yeah, I hope you all have been doing well. And uh, and let me see here who we got already. Sherelle, how are things going with you?
Things are going well. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I was having a problem with the music.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Um, just a brief update. So this Saturday and Sunday at 10 a.m. EST, X4 will be hosting the finals for the Extreme Championship Series. So this weekend's finals are for EV.io. So during the weekend events, which will be live streamed on Twitch, there are going to be two $500 prizes given away, so one for each day. So drop by, say hello from the Bat community if you are free. Before that, though, on Saturday, Dragon Dave will be hosting a Jackbox party on his Twitch channel. The details, along with times and your time zone links, everything are in Discord. For those of you who have not played EV.io, go give it a try. If you sign into the game and play it using your Brave wallet, you'll get a 10% markup on your winnings, which Brave is actually funding through our partnership with EV.io. And we're also going to be doing some community events like the Maze Run that we had before the 3XP event with Xborg and a soon-to-be announced traditional Web2 gaming community that we're partnering with. So stay tuned, and of course, I will continue to post things in Discord. That's it for me.
Awesome. Sounds cool. Yeah, if you haven't played League, gotta try it out. It's pretty fun. Drew, what's new with you?
Yeah. So this last week we had our Twitter space last Friday with karate combat, and it was pretty cool. They got a kind of UFC type thing that's also crypto related. They have a token that's like a governance DAO token kind of thing. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see what they had going on, kind of the technology aspects that they're implementing into it all, where you can stream it and watch it for free and things like that. So that was cool. This week, we had somebody, and we were going to do kind of a security and safety focused space, but I think we'll push that off to next week. Our guest had to reschedule, so I think we'll do that next week. So we'll I'll open it up to the comments in the chat on projects or types of projects you guys want to see. Go ahead and put them in there, and we'll see if we can't get them on. Other than that, we're just kind of going along. I don't know if Jennie's gonna be here today, but I know her and Batearn working more with the ambassadors and scheduling some stuff with that, and then also still working on the Sageburn stuff, which is kind of getting closer and closer.
Cool.
I think that's it for now.
They got slap boxing on that karate thing. Is that what you were saying earlier?
I don't know that they have slap boxing because it's more like I guess they were saying it's a little more fast paced and things like that than UFC, which is already pretty fast paced. But I don't think I was watching a little bit while we were on the space, and I think I don't think you can just kind of wrap up and hold kind of thing like a lot of the boxers and UFC will do. But yeah, so it's and it's all, I guess, martial arts based more so, but
cool.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so we'll try and see if we can work out some more stuff with them, see if we can, have them on or something here or something.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I like that. Batearn, what's new with you with the ambassadors?
Brave so good. Bat Brigade.
Gang.
Good. I'm obsessed with that for a few days. Yeah, well, Jennie will explain it better than I can later. But we're plodding along. We're having meetings with people, organising events. Yeah, it's going all right.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. I see Guillermo, man. This new artwork you're doing is awesome. It continues to be awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, friend.
Yeah, man. It's rad. Hopefully we'll have some more to announce with you coming soon too. NFTs and stuff. Let's see here. What else is here with updates?
Did Bows say he had some stuff he wanted
Yeah,
to add?
Bows did. See Bows in the car too, but I don't know, Bows. Is it a good time, Bows, or a bad time?
Well, I'm currently in the office, but I'll probably be heading out a bit, and then I can.
So maybe later.
Cool. We can check back with you in a little bit. Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of a slow going week, but we have. Let's see what we've got update wise. I can just open it up for questions if folks have them. I put a poll in chat too. Let me know if any of you all are using Rumble. I'm super curious to see if you all are using it.
I know that the Dick Show has started doing some stuff on there, so I might have to investigate what they're doing on Rumble.
Yeah, seems like pretty interesting. Like they're catching up speed or whatever.
I've heard that the actual app itself is atrocious to use. That's the main feedback I've heard.
Oh, really?
Mm.
All right. Well, I see in chat,
and that the people that they pay people to use it, but the same people they pay to use it are the people who get banned from everywhere else anyway. So where else are they going to go?
True. Let's see here. Utility Brave Ads Service. I'm just looking at what Mafia AI says. Like we actually have a. Let me pull it up on GitHub. I think we put a list of dependencies that run with Brave service. For that screenshot that you shared, Mafia AI, is that with ads enabled or with ads disabled? Oh, I see, with the ads disabled. Okay, let me double check the dependencies here on that. Some of that might be around like sponsored images and things like that are ad service related, but aren't necessarily like ad matching related. Let me pull up the GitHub and share that over.
If I recall, I think Mafia is running on Mac.
Got it. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Browser.
I should also add that I also have a Mac, and it's the M1, so Mac Apple Silicon, and it does not show up. So it may be due to the Intel Macs.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let me see here. All right. Yeah, let me you can pull it up too on there. I mean, it's not spyware. I can assure you that. Let me pull that up and then get a proper answer your way. But let's see here. What else? Any other questions?
I guess I got one for more of a personal question.
I love personal
It's
questions.
regarding. Nice. It's more regarding my Brave rewards. My account has been flagged for a couple months now, and I'm wondering if there's a certain person or an area that I could talk to get this resolved. I know it does say that it can be resolved automatically, but I mean, it's been maybe about 3 months now, 2 or 3 months, and I'm still waiting to get it flagged.
Did you submit a ticket, Aaron Naga?
No, I haven't, because when I tried logging back into Gemini, it says that I basically just need to wait. So I just thought I'd bring it up in this community call to see what I can do.
Yeah, I think we had Chris. Sorry, Luke, I don't really want to answer, but
No, jump in.
Yeah, we had Chris, who runs the rewards on a few weeks back, and he said to submit a ticket, and then I can DM you and kind of help you out as well.
Thank you. I think C-Ray added it, so I'll go through that.
Yeah, add that, and then I'll get with you as well to kind of help you out, make sure we get it resolved.
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's been kind of a thing.
Yeah, it seems like a bunch of people got flagged last month that shouldn't have, probably.
Yeah.
Are there still like a lot of?
I wanted to talk about
go ahead, Gus.
a little bit. I'll jump in once I get to my car.
Oh, okay, cool. But it sounds like it's on this topic too.
I think like the pendulum swings both ways, doesn't it? For a while, if you're too lax on people on secure on like making everyone verified, then you have people scabbing the system. Then you go too far the other way, and then people get caught in the net, don't they? So
it's kind of bounding, like it's yeah. I mean, and I want to get everybody squared up that was hit. So yeah. Also, like my DMs are open too on Twitter. If you're really stuck, let me know too there. If you haven't already filed a ticket, file a ticket. Like if you file a ticket and you're stuck, let me know. Like and it's been a while or whatever. Let me know. I can try and help as much as I can. Because that's like a bummer, and we don't want that. Sierra, you got a hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in while we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I know you've heard me mention it a few times, but I really hope that you can help put a driving force on changing the notice for the flagged accounts. Because like you had Aaron Yanka and all these other people that get that notice. It says you don't have to do anything. But we've had people posting that they've been waiting for months or even years, and it's not changed anything. That support ticket is required basically for anything to happen, but we don't tell anybody that. We don't send them over to community. We don't provide them the support ticket link. We just tell them, hey, you don't need to do anything. And when I did bring it up when Chris was here, he was like, well, some people have been automatically resolved, but that's just such a minority.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's scalable. Obviously, like first off, if a ticket's required, we should say that, like even at the risk of it resulting in getting spammed, because if people are going to spam, they're going to do anyway, right? Like I totally agree with you there. And it's something. I'm going to put effort into this too, because this last one specifically, like, seems like it's been pretty bad, and like. I'm not always aware that some people have been waiting like months on this stuff too, and that's not good. Like, let's and I know that it's no fault of anybody's here, like because you guys have been bringing this up, but okay. So first orders, like the updating the copy on so that you need to file a support ticket. Copy to include that you need to file or open a ticket. What's the other gap there, C-Ray, that we're missing?
Well, I think the big disconnect is what they're saying is they don't necessarily want to put a notice in the browser because they was worried that people would use that to know when they were detected and everything. But I believe as long as we still do a delay, or at least even change the one that we have, by the time it does tell you that you're flagged, it just needs to let people know either to go to community, because I know support said that they like having community as a filter.
Yeah.
Instead of just automatically going straight to the tickets, even though it's a redundancy, because by the time they post on community, we're just automatically telling them you have to do a ticket or you can't be helped. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is like a waste of time for people, but they just said it helps filter out some of the BS stuff.
It doesn't seem like good user flow though, right? Like, I mean, even if it is saving us a little bit of grief on our side, like, so I point well taken there. I think like, so it sounds like people aren't sure if they're even flagged, right? Like that's like a major problem, right? Like, and then if they are flagged, they don't know what to do next, right?
Correct. I mean, in the past, you would have been able to tell people, hey, we can kind of figure out you're flagged because you're no longer seeing ad notifications. However, in some of the recent changes, that's no longer the case. You are forced to still see ad notifications, even if you are flagged. So we have people that still see the ads. They think that they're earning, they think there's no problem. And then eventually they just don't get their payments. And sometimes they hold out thinking it was just a problem and it's coming. Then when they finally get disconnected and try to reconnect to their custodial partner, that's when they find out that they've been flagged.
Good Lord. Okay. Yeah, let me work on this.
Can I chime in?
Of course you can.
Okay, can y'all hear me okay, first of all?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. And I had a few other layers to it that I wanted to bring up.
Yep.
So, first, I feel like when we have a known issue, that Brave should really be doing more proactive job on doing messaging related to it, because like currently I can't really think of an instance where I have seen proactive messaging or narrative control or damage control that was, what I would have thought would have been normal. And what that results in is, for instance, Reddit, most all the posts are just, I'm not getting bad, or that's a scam, etc. The Twitter posts that Brave puts out, regardless of what they are, you get comments saying, hey, my account's flagged, or hey, I don't get payments, etc. And then the ones on Twitter, I don't necessarily think are getting responded to by anyone on Brave. I know I respond to some of them. And then we have the issue where, people don't know they're flagged. Like, I didn't know I was flagged until I put in the support ticket and it got responded to. So, like, what happens is, the logic is there's that, like C. Ray mentioned, is like they're saying, this helps prevent fraud and other stuff and over a bunch of tickets. But the problem is, okay, well, a lot of people are just going to see, hey, I'm not getting any bat payouts. I mean, it says I'm supposed to. I'm just going to turn off rewards, or I'm going to think this is a scam. And even if they're happy with the browser, if they think this might be a scam, they might just uninstall it because they might be like, this looks sketchy. Maybe other stuff's sketchy. And the messaging's really bad because like it'll still say stuff like, hey, this is your estimated payout, and then it'll say stuff like, congrats, your bad payout was deposited, when in fact it knows that your account flagged, so it knows you didn't get any back, which is not really an acceptable way to handle that from a public relations standpoint, regardless of what terms of service might say. That's misleading, and that's just going to make people think it's a scam or there's some issue. And, people might not ever even get to the point where they see that, stuff has been flagged because, like, there's a good chance they turn off rewards or uninstall before they see it.
Right.
No, so I feel like the current messaging is actually just worsening the problem in each opportunity there is to message or communicate with the user.
No, it's totally fair points, right? Like, and some of this too, like I've even, like I'll just go through some of the Brave Twitter account tweets and see that there's a bunch of, I've just been going in manually and replying on some of them, but like not everyone. I mean, like as I can, but no, I hear you loud and clear. And I think like even if there was a reply that we could just automatically hit when people are replying to tweets where it says, hey, look, like, oh, if you haven't opened a ticket, open it here, yada yada yada, where at least then it shows that there's responses happening. Like that could be very good and on that too. So I'll definitely raise that with the team. I definitely hear you, and I don't disagree either. Like, to be honest, like I've been kind of surprised sometimes that when I've gone and seen like some of the questions, because there have been other like legit technical questions or like bugs that are reported in there on these threads, where I've like actually like tagged in members of the team too to do it. And so I'll connect with like our social comms folks and the marketing team too, and support on this point. I think like that's kind of why I was asking C-Ray too, like just to kind of like make sure that I fully understand. Like, I haven't been flagged like this before personally, like, so you know, it's helpful. And I know that like when we had Chris on too, it was like there were some points where it's like, well, you know, we just won't want to get, you know, spammed here or there. I think like ultimately, like, we're user first, like we should be making the user flow make as much like as intuitive as possible, right? Like, and so like one, I'll definitely take it as an action item to talk to the team about the social posts, like, and replies, like, and two, just getting a script down for when people reply that they've been flagged or whatever, like, and then like three, working on how we can make that support flow better. If that makes sense. I mean, like, what else is there? Like, give me all the rest. That totally. I was like, I just want to make sure I'm like sinking my teeth in appropriately, you know.
I mean, I think I have some notes jotted down. I don't have them from me, but I did want to also mention that another thing is, like, from talking to other community members, like the most active people, I have been surprised how many responses I've gotten that have been stuff like, "Oh, that rewards just doesn't work for me. Like, I don't get it or do it." And I'm not talking about like the recent flagging incident, like, you know. So I kind of feel like there's potential for some of this stuff to be way more people to be having issues than maybe is realized.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys can, like, again, like the more we know about how it's not working for people, the more we can make sure it works for people, right? Like, so
yeah,
if folks are having issues, like, let us know. We can. The only way we know is like if we're. I mean, we know it unless sometimes people are running into cases where not everybody's experiencing that issue, right? So, you know, if someone's saying, "Hey, it's just not working for me," like, well, let's find out why. I mean, like, that's part of why we're having this call too, right? Is to kind of bubble up this stuff too and make sure that we can get this stuff addressed.
Yeah, I guess I also would add is that the support ticket avenue really isn't even the greatest, even if like people were directed that way, because I'll be honest, like the amount of support tickets I've entered in my entire life is very low, and I just feel like there's going to be, you know, ideally rewards needs to be in a place where like support tickets are going to be very rare for users, because a lot of people just aren't going to do it or seek out any information on how to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. like it shouldn't. Like, well, that's kind of why I was using this flagging as an example, right? Like, the amount of folks that have spoken up on these calls that are on these calls and therefore real people getting flagged, like, has been kind of alarming on this last pass that's gone through. And so, you know, that's why I want to take the time here to make sure that really understanding where you guys are coming from, just so I can go forward with that, right? Because, like, definitely commit to like working through this because it's important for me too, right? Like, and for the company. But that's what I want to just make sure I fully understand what's going on. And I appreciate you servicing this stuff. I know this is like, you know, it can feel like complaining or something, but it's not. It's just good stuff for us to know. Smarty Addy, I think you got a hand up.
Hey, yeah. So I've been on the community for a while, and I've been recently seeing people posting that they got kind of like a partial payout, and I was one of them as well. So on my Android phone, I was supposed to receive around 13 bats, and on my Windows device, I was supposed to get around like, I guess, 10, but I only received about like 12.5 or something. So I raised the ticket, and they got back to me and said that there was a issue with the NTP ads last month, so that's why the payout was really low. But the difference is quite a lot. So like, I'm not sure if you guys have like really looked into it. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful. I'll go back to the team and find out what happened with that, but and see like what their plans are. So you got a partial payout, and they said that it was because there was an issue with the NTT payout.
NTP ads, new
Yeah,
tab page ads.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Let me go back to the team and get some more info on that and see what the plan is for that. But basically, like the estimate didn't match what you got.
Kind of, yes, but like many users were affected, so like I thought I'll just bring this up.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so if you would, I know I tried to reach out to Steven and Chris, so I know they were still looking into it, but they said that it's tied to a known issue with the NTP ads last month. So it said it resulted in an incorrect payout status for rewards for some users. And what they've been telling everybody is there's no issue with payment and the correct amount has been paid out, but that the discrepancy in what was shown to the browser. So that's what they're telling everybody who filed tickets. But what I asked to him, and he never has not done yet, because I know they were still looking into it more, is my thing is once we have it as a known issue and we start responding to people to say there was a problem, it would seem like a very good idea to create a public post on community or even on Twitter or Reddit to let people know that we had an issue
Yeah.
and everything. But again, this is part of the bad look, along with the flag is when we do have an issue, no one's saying anything until you come to them. And then once you create the ticket, they're just getting the thing saying, oh, it was an error or, whatever. And people are getting frustrated on that as well.
Yeah, known issues should become known, right? And not like live in a cave somewhere. No, totally. That's super helpful.
Then also to let you know, when he was talking to me on Friday, they said that they're still working on tickets, but that status, they were something like 80% caught up with June and July tickets. So there's definitely still a backlog that they was hoping to catch up on soon.
Cool. All right, cool. Let's see here. NX, do you have a hand up too?
Hey, what's going on, Luke?
Good. How are you doing? Long time no speak.
Yeah, man, I'm happy you guys are still keeping up with the community. I have some questions about, future bat functionality. We've seen there was the first criminal case against NFTs, and we see some of these projects that we were hopeful for, that were like advancing decentralization. Long story short, I just want to say, we still don't have any bat functionality. Is there any thing coming down the pipeline? We've been brave supporters. We've grown the app to 100 million users, right? This is really we've been pushing people to download, and they've been using it. And they have good experiences, but now this bat is becoming like a little stale. It seems like. Do you have anything to keep us excited?
Yeah, I think we're working on the V3 roadmap right now, which we're hoping to get up pretty soon, which will outline like a bunch of new things for BAT and some changes to the systems too. And we're super excited about getting that out. We've been adding in Pay with BAT on into self-serve, and we're working on getting that into the other areas too. But totally hear you. I think it's also been kind of like a weird time to where not just us, but other projects have been kind of seeing. I mean, like we're an American company, right? Like and the regulatory situation here has been very weird. But also like stuff that happened last week even was pretty promising around as these cases work through the system. There's that Ripple case last week where one judge basically said like, look, these are not securities. With some of the sale mechanisms through institutions could be or considered that, but programmatically being dropped, these are tokens are not securities, which is a huge deal. I mean, and who knows where that moves, but just seeing that as counter to what the SEC has been saying has been awesome to see. There's going to be a bunch of court cases and stuff that drops, but yeah, I think the roadmap that we're working on now should get people excited. And yeah, I mean, we appreciate everybody using the app and telling their friends, etc. We're not slowing down or stopping anything. If anything, we're turning it up more. Yeah, I know this isn't giving you A, B's, and C's of what we're doing specifically, but the roadmap should make that pretty clear. And I think that we're getting more clarity now, at least in the U.S., which is pretty important because other countries tend to kind of follow suit. That said, other countries are moving ahead, and that's been the other interesting thing happening right now, is that other areas are still actively going to. So anyway, long story short, yeah, there's stuff on the way, and we're in this for the long haul. We always have been, and we always will be, and we're going to be adding more and more stuff with that.
Yeah, Luke, one more thing there. We've seen this Brave talk. That was a good implementation. I just want to mention some of the things that the users like. Brave Search is doing great. People are having good experiences with it. We can find information on Brave Search that we can't find on Google and Bing. So that's always useful. But another thing that I want to mention was, we're seeing the things that happen with Reddit. We're seeing Mastodon, Nostr, and all these other protocols that, right? One reason why I don't like Bat is because I kind of have to link with the custodial and give them my license, and then it gets kind of shady. But with things like Nostr and Mastodon, it's bringing back those early internet vibes where it's you don't have to give any information and you can create a credible reputation, right? So is there any updates on how Brave will incorporate with these things? Because I know they're open source, and you guys are always looking at the open source.
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I think like Nostr and a couple of things have come up as because we're getting close to the team's working on implementing Bitcoin into the wallet too, so we can have L1 support for Bitcoin. And so one thing we've been doing is, back when we were in Miami, meeting with a bunch of the teams that are doing things that are interesting on Bitcoin, and Nostr was one that came up too around now that we'll have the support, getting more involved with them in other areas there too. With regard to the custodian side stuff like that, I'm going to wait until the roadmap's out, and then folks can tune into that for some more info there. Definitely hear you. When Chris was on too last week, he was talking about, we're moving the system to be more on chain and peer-to-peer tipping and things like that for creators, etc. So more towards that direction. And I think that's going to be a welcome news for a lot of people. I can't give too many details on it right now because I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think that folks here will be happy and excited to see what we've got in the roadmap coming up.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, and keep an eye on the project always.
Hey, this is a great question. I think it's interesting too, because with all this stuff happening, it all just gets back down to the roots of this stuff is can we make things more decentralized? Can we, get to the fundamentals of why we're doing this stuff to begin with, right? Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback too. Let's see here. Whose other hands are up? Anybody?
I got a couple of questions. Just,
yeah.
Two more. Sweet. So I use Brave's password manager, and the two questions are regarding this. One is, could Brave implement within the password, auto-generated passwords, the special characters, and as well as possibly longer characters as well? Because there have been some websites where it requires a special character, and Brave currently does not add them. And other websites, they require a password that's perhaps a couple more characters longer.
Oh, interesting. I wasn't aware that we had those limitations on it. I can definitely surface it to the team and open an issue.
Sure. And
Yeah.
then the second question is Brave looking to implement two-factor authentication? Because that's one of the things that's still prevented me from moving my passwords away from the Apple's keychain.
Two-factor on just on the password manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the plans are there. If somebody else from the team's on the phone and has a sense, feel free to chime in. But I can take it back to the team and get you an answer next week, hopefully.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's good questions. On password, I'm just noting this stuff down and talking out loud because that's how I do things here sometimes. So bear with me. Cool. What else, folks? Seabray.
I'm always going to try to save us from the
Yeah, please do. Save me from there.
Actually, not long ago, I had seen on Reddit someone asking for information on how self-serve has been going. Do we have any kind of overall statistics or anything known on that?
Yeah, I can give a pretty good update on what's going on with self-serve. So we have right now we got 25 campaigns active. We've got about 4 that are being set up. We've been doing a lot of work on the initial ad units that we included in self-serve were notifications, but one thing we're doing now is we have a couple of folks from the search ads team are working with existing advertisers on getting them using search ads in self-serve. It's kind of one of those benefits of joining the program is that we can do things like expose features as they're kind of in, getting worked on in beta and getting them used. So we've been doing that. There's also been a couple of cases with managed service customers that have wanted to try out self-serve too. So we're doing that. We just actually we're working on a campaign with and folks probably saw it was with the Index, which was advertising on news and on notifications, and it was part of an effort that I'm trying to work on right now. Is basically like a big part of my job right now is like basically like going under the hood with ads and reassessing everything and then evaluating the revenue, evaluating performance, and I've got team members that are helping doing that. But one of the cool things is that we started up a case study with all right, 1 second here. All right, there we go. So we're working on with Joan Westenberg on the Index. We're doing a case study with Joan. But one of the cool things around that was that they're using self-serve, and there were some insights that we'd added into reporting too around like down to creative performance, creative messaging performance, and we actually found out some pretty interesting insights too. Like there was a message that was getting like the highest click-through rate, but was actually converting lower than other messaging. And so like we're able to kind of help Joan figure out which messaging was leading to subscriptions. And I think if I recall correctly, it was like basically doubled their daily subscription rate of people joining in. So it was pretty cool. So right now, like the main thing around self-serve is the biggest things we wanted to do in the beginning was like getting payment portal set up and onboarding. And so we have a Stripe integration that's done. Pay with Bat is code complete and in test environment. It's going to be in as soon as we get a thumbs up from finance on everything, we're going to launch that into production. And then the other two big items that we wanted to get done before we really marketed this more aggressively is making sure that we have news and search ads as ad units that are available in self-serve so that we can go, because a lot of folks that use self-service kind of expect for search ads to be part of that. So we have one member of the team who has been working on some really slick targeting capabilities too, that'll basically like when advertisers have keywords that they'll submit with their campaign. Our team member actually has a way that like can generate keywords that are actually more performant than using a prefab list, which is interesting. And we've been testing that out too. So that's something we're bringing to self-serve. And so like Q3 and Q4, we're planning to like toward the end of Q3 and in Q4, we're going to be, turning up the marketing on self-serve pretty aggressively, but it's been going well. I mean, like the program, the whole intention with the first date was to get more and more feedback, get more and more things tuned in, and get our engineers and product people working with the advertisers, and that's been happening. And so, yeah, like I hope that helps as far as like updates on that go.
Yeah, that sounds good. I guess I will ask, what percent would you say of like total ads are currently through self-serve? I take it would be a pretty small percentage overall.
Pretty small right now, mainly because for the items I just mentioned. I think like what I'm really pushing for though with the team, and we just have a new VP of sales that just started about I think 3 weeks ago, and so been working closely with him too to kind of get him up to speed on things. But ideally, like self-serve, like ideally we end up having like for managed services, like or for sales, they're selling self-serve to kind of whales and takeovers, like to whales basically. And then we have like we market self-serve to like mid and longer tail ad customers too, right? So ideally like self-serve becomes kind of the thing that the sellers are selling rather than selling, managed service kind of campaigns one by one, except for things like new tab takeovers. But there's another one of the things I've been working on is like kind of working with the team on packaging like a better kind of a takeover where not just taking over that new tab page, the sponsored image, but also like taking over the news feed too, as kind of part of like a big exclusive takeover. And so we're working on, we ran some tests with these with Swarovski. I always butcher the name at the end of June. In India, we tested this out, but we're going to be testing more aggressively on this in August and toward the end of July. But I think like it does a couple things that are pretty interesting. One, I mean, that new tab page sponsored image and the news are both living on the same real estate, right? So like you could have a pretty seamless look through, and since the new tab page takeovers are exclusive, like you could tell a brand, okay, our two branding units are working together, and you can really kind of tell a story with the whole thing. So we're working on that, and then small tweaks too, like changing the order of the sponsored image to moving it closer up front instead of like I think once you see it, after you see it every fourth tab, it shows again. Trying to kind of move that up in the order a bit, but that's been some work in progress, and then also like kind of looking at everything and making sure that performance wise we're setting things to work the best, etc. Because we have this new VP of sales that started and making sure he has everything, all the ammo he needs to like kind of retool the narrative with fresh eyes. It's been really cool to see that actually, because some of the ideas coming out of it are really great. Maybe I'll have him join one of these calls too, so y'all can get to know him a little bit better. But it's been cool to work with him so far, and we're learning a lot too, like just going through the system again. I mean, because there have been so many improvements on anti-fraud in other areas. We're seeing the benefits of those playing out with performance in the system, but also like I want to run a lot of tests where we're able to like evaluate things like recall and brand lift when we're running 4 ad units with the media together. And there's another thing we're looking at doing too, where if an advertiser wants to go big with us, we can just do something like kind of query the index and see what the organic whatever that brand brand is involved with. So the vertical that brand is involved with, and then like, okay, show as a result, like over time, are we able to do things like see more search query volume for that brand or things related to that brand, just because people are seeing more of the messaging, stuff like that. That's pretty powerful that we can start to offer for advertisers to, it helps to show them that like, not everybody's got what we've got here. And even though we don't allow third-party tracking and things like that, there are insights that you can get from this system that are pretty valuable and pretty, useful across everywhere else you advertise too. So I hope that helps, but a lot of time and effort. I feel like half of the job right now is kind of doing open heart surgery on what's going on with ads and seeing where we can tune things up and get more performance out.
All right, yeah, sounds good. And I'm going to loop in one other random question. I am assuming you're not going to have an answer, but if you can help. Back in August of last year, they had put out a thing for volunteers for a user study that was supposed to be done by University of Cambridge. And it says aiming to enable privacy-preserving federated learning. So a lot of people, including myself, had participated in it. But I know I had requested kind of a link when it would come out. So it's been, well, depending on how you want to say it, good 7 to 12 months. And I've still not seen anything. How do we find out about that? Are we ever going to know anything on the updates, or is just kind of missing data?
That's a good question. Let me check with the team on that one. I'll make a note right now to check on that. They can't. I see. Brendan's here. Hey, Brendan. We've got Brendan here for a couple minutes. If anybody has questions for Brendan. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. All right. Anybody? Anyone?
I mean, I guess I have a more somewhat generic question, but how much emphasis do you feel Brave is putting on, shoring up its foundations and like ensuring it has its basics down versus developing new features? Because honestly, for me, the things that I see with Brave the most often that cause concerns aren't what it's not doing, it's what it doesn't have shored up fully yet.
Can you get a little more specific on that?
I mean, the flag thing we talked about earlier, I would say just anything that adds frictions to rewards. Sometimes messaging or lack of messaging. No clear efforts on efforts to control narratives. Just occasionally stuff going out to public release that seems a little iffy, or I'd kind of be surprised went all the way out and made it to a public release.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I know we're always trying to get bug reports in. I don't know, Brendan, if you have any thoughts on this.
Well, narrative is a potent word now, because for the most, I think since Walter Lippmann wrote his book on propaganda, the 20th century has been dominated by narratives that are run by powers that be. So, Brave has not been reacting to every narrative shift or trying to jump ahead of narrative from big tech or even big crypto projects. We're just plugging away. But I agree with you that there's a communication gap, and we need to address this with the BAT roadmap update, which is coming. And just to give you a sneak peek, I think the important things in that update are we're going to settle as directly as we can on chain. Solana looks like a cheap solution. We're going to try to avoid having bogus licensed intermediaries or custodians in the way of that settlement. We'll have to make sure that there's a sort of threshold of humanity, the proof that we do through NFTs or something like it, to avoid fraudsters who play the long game amortizing their costs over some kind of incremental fixed cost of fraud. This has been something that our settlement partners have provided through their own efforts, where they have anti-fraud on their side, or they have KYC costs on their side. But long game fraudsters overcome those and just pay it back over time. So we have to have something equivalent for self-custody. We're going to try to do rewards on chain. You heard it from me already. I hinted at it on Twitter. If you didn't know, now you know.
There you go. I see C-Ray, you got a hand up too?
Yeah, I was going to ask something else, but I'm going to key in on what Brendan's saying. Did you just mention that rewards is going to be on chain?
Yeah, I did. The question is which chain. I think Solana is our default right now because it's fast and cheap. I think we have to look at the EVM L2s that are cheap as well. So I'm going to hedge my bet a little there, but that's what I think right now.
Okay, but with that, I know the KYC AML still would be required. Would we need to be going through a custodial partner?
Wait, no. We're not a money transmitter. Rewards is not money transmission. There's still a sanction issue, but I think that has to be expressed in terms of addresses that are banned, and I'll just leave it there.
Okay, and with that teaser, do we have anything of an ETA, or is just a work in progress and something that will eventually come, hopefully?
No, we're working on this right now. We're working on it in a direct payouts on Solana. If it turns out an L2 is better, we'll switch to that. The main mechanics are not specific to the fast, low-fee chain. They're more about, or L2, they're more about how you deal with things on the reward side.
Okay, and I know with how Gensler and everything's been, I figured we might be
Yeah,
in trouble here.
FGG, and he's going to lose a bunch of cases, and this is going to help, I think, start the next crypto summer. Can't call the timing on that, but I think it's going to happen.
Okay, awesome. And crap, I'll loop back around. I'm trying to remember what I was going to ask. I was going to ask on search for our AI summarizer. Lately, it's not always triggering, and some people have wanted to kind of go back, like on Bean Search and all those. It can actually kind of save your history. Doesn't seem to be that way there, so people have been upset because they can't always see what was.
I mean, you're absolutely right. You need sort of a context or a history, even if it's local or short term. Also, I think Summarizer is going to be careful not to fire when there's dispute on a key topic to be summarized. If they're authoritative looking or high reputation sources that disagree, it will not kick in. On the other hand, we're working on a browser AI, which is local or personal AI, which is less large models finely tuned that actually perform better for you than these big dumb models that are full of lies and hallucinations and spook propaganda. So stay tuned for that because it's coming to Brave Nightly soon, and I'm pushing as far as I can to get it out. But these are less large but still large enough language models that are finely tuned should give you privacy or personal AI properties that you want and give you more personalization and give you better results. And you don't have to rely on just the global search algorithm giving you a summary. You can get something in your sidebar that's peculiar to you, private to your browser, and nobody else's business. As Dwight K. Schrute said, beeswax, none of yours.
All right, awesome. And I'm going to slip one more thing in for you guys. I know a while back I mentioned things like closed the captions, like live captions, which we did have in flags and all, but wasn't working. Lately, I've also seen a number of posts of people looking for like text-to-speech features and everything. So basically working on accessibility options within Brave. I know.
Yeah, that's a topic on my mind too. There's a general problem here. It covers things like accurate AGPS, that is Wi-Fi based location services, but definitely text-to-speech, speech-to-text, and translation. These are systems that require wisdom of the crowds and a large, data set from real users. They also seem to be duopolized or monopolized by the OS vendors and Google. But we hope to crack this nut. LLMs are actual progress on this front. You can use LLMs to do translation right now, or text to speech, for instance. There's a great demo on Twitter, I don't have the link handy, of someone using OpenAI to do this. So we shouldn't have to rely on the OS monopoly vendors who always tie their services into their browser, like Edge does text to speech with all the languages, whereas Brave on Windows has to pay if we're going to pay. And we have to charge the user at scale. We can't afford it ourselves to do text to speech in every region. So, this is something where I think LLMs and technology make progress, and we can actually benefit from this, and we can also help, build the commonwealth that exists thanks to everybody who uses these systems, who is correcting the errors and providing the idioms and the grammatical details that the large language models miss. That's something that should not be profitable only for Google or Microsoft. That should be something that is shared through some kind of commonwealth system that, to be scalable, has to be a blockchain.
All right, gotcha. Thank you.
And I know Aaron Yakas has a hand up. Had a hand up. Jenny's here too. I don't know, Jenny. We have a few minutes left. If you have updates that you want to share.
Yeah, sure. I can give a few updates. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone is having a nice day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. And hi, Brendan. Nice to see you here too. So yeah, I can share a couple updates about items covered last week first. So last week, somebody was asking about Bat community call recordings because we had somebody from the community, I believe it was Based Brave User, who was uploading them weekly after each call, but he has vanished for now. So what we'll be doing from this week going forward is we'll be uploading all of the community call recordings on the BAP community YouTube channel, and Belladone will be assisting with that. So thank you so much, Belladone. We actually already have a playlist called that community call, so we will just be updating that existing playlist going forward. In addition, last week I talked a little bit about the upcoming 24 hours of BAT event. We've now narrowed down a time frame, so it will be happening in mid-September. And just as a refresher, 24 hours of BAT is a day of global Bat and Brave meetups that will be taking place in different countries around the world, hosted by our very own BAT ambassadors. And we did a couple of these 24-hour BAT events back in 2018, 2019, pre-pandemic. They were super successful. We had lots of ambassadors participating. I think we had up to 15 groups participating for one of them, which was wonderful. Created a Bat and Brave wave on social media. And of course, the IRL events were pretty fun too. So we're still in the early planning stages, but you will start to see some promotion on social media in the next few weeks for this September event. And if you live in a region where a meetup will take place, then you'll be able to RSVP through Eventbrite. And the Eventbrite pages will include, the meetup date, the time, a loose agenda. Of course, you'll be able to see, what will take place there. And this is new. If you do not live in proximity to any of the meetups, you'll be able to join them remotely via a Brave Talk live stream. So it's the first time we're doing that. And it'll just be a nice way to engage everybody back home who may not be able to attend in person. And to make it a little more fun, we're going to do a POAP treasure hunt with all the participating regions. So the more live streams you tune into, the more regional POAPs you'll be able to gather and put toward possibly a bigger recognition or prize at the end. So stay tuned for more details about that in the next couple of weeks. And then last thing I wanted to update on was we had a really cool, thanks. We had a really nice Twitter space last week with a project called Karate Combat. So for anyone who missed it, Karate Combat is the world's premier full contact striking league, and they blend live action fighting with really cool immersive CGI environments that are powered by Epic Games' virtual production engine. So imagine a fighting pit like, you know, in the in UFC or WWE, but surrounded by like a CGI background that includes futuristic scenes that could give the impression of a match taking place, let's say, in the middle of a sky city, kind of like Blade Runner-esque. Super cool. And their league hosts Olympic medalists and national champions from around the world, and they have celebrity ambassadors like George St. Pierre. And what's really cool about this league is all of their matches are streamed and broadcast worldwide for free through their website, through YouTube and other locations. So the content is super accessible. I know nowadays a lot of sports are pay-per-view, but theirs are free and you can watch the matches anywhere online. And of course, you can stream it through your Brave browser. And they also have their own token, which is #karate, which I think is the only crypto token to govern a professional sports league to date, and which fans can use for like token gated experiences and to bet on fights and so forth. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking out the Twitter space. It probably won't be our last conversation with them. We're currently exploring potential synergies, but in the meantime, it was a really fun and exciting space. So definitely recommend going to check that out. You can find the recording on the Bat Community Twitter account. Oh, Belladone linked it. It's in the chat.
And Jennie, can I say
Yeah.
one more time, shout out to Moonbeamer who hooked us up with that one here from the community. I don't think she's here today, but she did hook us up with that one.
That's right. Thanks, Drew.
Cool. We are right at time too, so I want to thank everybody for joining this week. We'll be back in 1 week. Thanks, Brennan. Thanks, Jennie. Everybody, thanks for the feedback too. Definitely have a lot to take back to the team, and we will see you all in 1 week. Have a good one. See you online.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.